Wait. Why did I come in here? I hate when this happens. Alright, let me think. I was just in the other room. I was wrapping up some work. And I know I had to come in here to get something. But what? Nah, what was it? It's probably nothing. If I can't remember, it probably wasn't that important, right? I'm sure that you've been in this kind of situation before where you enter a room and completely forget what you came in for. It's frustrating, isn't it? It feels like something is stopping you from thinking clearly. No matter what you do, something just seems off. And not only do you experience forgetfulness, but also a lack of focus, a cluttered mind, confusion, and just overall mental fatigue. All of these symptoms together is called brain fog. So brain fog is an extremely frustrating thing to deal with. You know exactly what you need to do, but it's as if there's an invisible wall in front of you that's stopping you from doing it. I think it's fair to say that our life right now is so different to what it used to be 30 years ago. We are constantly surrounded by technology, be it our phones, laptops, or television. And it's not just technology that's changed, everything is different now. Global population has exploded, climate is changing for the worse, the jobs have become more competitive, and everything has become so much more expensive. Basically, all these changes have made our stress levels go through the roof. So our lives are changing, but we aren't changing the way we deal with stress. So in this video, we're going to talk about the 2 ways that we can get rid of brain fog and get that thinking capacity back to 100%. We're on our phones a lot, and I think it's fair to say that we've become addicted to technology through no fault of our own. We've become so used to having the world at our fingertips that we don't know how to live without it. And when we don't have a phone in our hands, we feel like something is missing. But I'm not being dramatic or anything, but research shows that an average person checks their phone at least 125 times a day. Oh, there it is. We try to unwind by going on our phones or watching Netflix or just playing games online, which brings a whole new wave of information to our brains. And if it's not one of these things, having phones also means being connected to work 24/7, so we can get work calls and emails at any time. So the question here is, how are we getting a break here? We are just jumping from one stressful situation to the next. But I know that it's hard to reduce how much time we spend on our phone. My daily usage on my phone was around 7 to 8 hours during the pandemic and the lockdown, which is a lot. And what I've realized is that if I don't actively stop myself from being on my phone, I can be on it for hours. We don't really think too much about this, but taking in all this information can really clutter our mind. And I have also realized that I can't depend on my self-discipline and willpower to reduce my screen time. Just not gonna happen. So I started looking for the best way out and found that what attracts us to our phone is this shot of dopamine that we receive whenever we go on our phone. So if we find an activity enjoyable, for example, going on Instagram or Facebook, our brain keeps repeating the behavior to get the most reward out of it. Every time we scroll through Instagram, receive likes and comments on our post, our brain produces a large amount of dopamine which pushes us to do the same activities over and over again. So I started thinking about how I can make the experience as unenjoyable as possible. So there are some things that you can do on your phone to make it as unappealing as possible. Here they are. First, I turned off all social media notifications from my phone. This includes Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and anything else that isn't particularly important and will distract me. Humans have this annoying tendency to pick up their phone as soon as they get a notification, even though it's not that important. So it could be a friend tagging you on a post or someone commenting on your latest picture. So you pick up your phone and before you know it, you are 20 minutes in just scrolling mindlessly on Instagram. So let me go off track and quickly tell you a story about an incident that I had with brain fog. This was in 2019 and I was in Edinburgh, a beautiful place. I was doing my masters there and I was supposed to meet up with my friends in Newcastle. So I'm waiting to leave, my train is at 2 p.m. and I'm packed and ready a little early. I get a notification on Instagram and I remember saying to myself, I have some time before I leave, might as well check on Instagram. I started scrolling and I completely lost track of time. I completely forgot that I had a train to catch and ended up missing my train because of my notifications pulling me towards Instagram. I know it's not one of my finest moments, but the moral of the story is that social media notifications can be dangerous if you want to be on time somewhere, so you should consider turning them off and see how you feel. I personally have had my notifications off since 2020 and I have not had any issues yet. There is nothing urgent about Instagram or Twitter that I need to see right this second. Instead, I have designated times where I go on social media and I can enjoy it more because there is no guilt attached to it. The guilt that I used to feel before when I know that I should be working, but I'm on Instagram instead. So the second way that I reduced my screen time was that I changed the color of my phone to black and white. I know it sounds weird, but it's so effective. By removing all the color from my phone automatically became less attractive. Instagram pictures didn't look very good, and Facebook posts just seemed very bland. Look, the idea behind this is, why would I want to look at something that's not appealing? Restricting the use of technology can help a lot with reducing all the excess and unnecessary information that our mind needs to deal with. And this brings me to the next way to deal with brain fog. The reason I believe we suffer from brain fog, and this is a continuation of all the changes in our life that we were talking about before, is that we store so many things into our brain, but we haven't found an outlet yet. So many thoughts are entering our mind that it's full of pointless information, from thinking about who won the World Cup to trying to keep up with the Kardashians. This is not including the important things like information about our family and our work. There is so much information out there that's entering our mind and cluttering it. Okay, so this is my favorite analogy. Think of your mind as a laptop. If you have loads of tabs open in the background, your laptop will become slow and its performance will decrease. But once you close all the unnecessary tabs, your laptop's peak performance returns. And it works the same way with us. All the unnecessary information that we have is like the tabs open in a laptop. We need to find a way to close the tabs of our mind. A brain dump simply means dumping out all the unimportant things from our mind, and this allows us to optimize tasks and get rid of worries and stress. If we keep all of our ideas in our mind at all times, our mind will keep bringing them up again and again. So the idea is to start taking out all of the small things from our mind so that we can become more in control of the thinking process. The best method to accomplish this is to have a brain dump technique, which is simply a notebook in which we can write down everything that's on our mind. It doesn't need to be anything fancy, so if I have an important assignment coming up and I feel like my mind is too crowded, I get out my notebook and write down everything that's on my mind. A brain dump is helpful because it helps us collect abstract thoughts and dump them. When we are anxious or overthinking, our mind becomes a whirlwind of ideas. A nagging anxiety may enter our consciousness for a brief period, followed by another thought and then another thought. And then the first nagging worry will then return, and it will do so indefinitely until we address this. But if you put it down on paper, you can make absolutes out of it. When we write anything down, it can't get away. It can't come back to bother us because it's right there on the piece of paper, just where we left it. So here's how you do it. You take a piece of paper or a notebook. I'm going to use this notebook, and this is my brain dump journal, and a pen. That's all you need. Now, just write down whatever comes to your mind. Doesn't matter how silly it sounds. And do not edit anything, that's important. It's supposed to be raw and real. If you are thinking about what you should be writing, then you're doing it wrong. So remember to make it a quick 2-minute exercise with you dumping all the cluttered thoughts in your mind. So these are the 2 ways that I have been dealing with my brain fog. I understand that it's a process, but I've started feeling that my ideas are flowing so much better, and I'm feeling this sense of lightness in my mind, which I can't really explain, but I know that it's because of having a less cluttered mind. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope this can help you achieve mental clarity. I'll see you soon.